Hi everyone, it's Gisab here and we are back for another Fluent modeling tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to go a little bit faster than usual. So if you're really new to Fluent and you don't really know the basic tools, I recommend you to watch the course I did on my YouTube channel over here. And let's get started. The idea here is to make a floor for a spaceship or a corridor. So first of all, we're going to start with the Fluent creation and we're going to make it a rectangle and not too slim because we're going to have some depth into it. So this is not totally flat. Good. So first of all, what I usually do is I always add a bevel and I always reduce it because by default it is way too high. And if you want to see better what you're doing, you can actually enable cavity here, and on the type, you can enable both. And this will help you to see the edges and everything. So that's helping when you're in the modeling phase. So usually when we have a floor on a corridor or on a spaceship somewhere, we have like a symmetrical pattern in the middle, and then the sides can be different. So we're gonna start with the middle, and I'm gonna make a plate like this. So from the center, always remember if you want to draw from the center, you hold Shift. So you don't need to make it too deep, just like so. And I will add the bevel. So I press B and C to change the type. Probably. Yes, good. And we will add an array. So you can go to the top view. And what we want to do is make this space actually half of the space that we have here. The idea is to make one piece of this mesh of this floor, and then you can duplicate it here and here and here to make like a corridor, and the floor is a pattern that you can reproduce over and over. So you don't need to be exactly like half the size of this. So we have the basic shape. Whenever I model something, I always go with the bigger details, then the medium one, and at the end, I go with the smaller details. The reason for that is because if you work a lot on just a very small part of your image, you don't have the global idea of the mesh that you are modeling. And then when you zoom backward, then you have like a part that is very detailed, and sometimes it doesn't match the idea that you had. So you need to remove the details and change them. So it's not really productive. So for me, this is better to work like this, like big details and then smaller ones. On this side, I would like to make a cut, and this could be to make some pipes over there. So we can right click. For the next step, I would like to put a grid. If you have Fluent Power Trip, so Fluent Power Trip is those tools over there. If you only bought the basic Fluent version, you don't have those tools, and I will show you how to make like an effect that you can use without Power Trip. But for me, I will first show the Power Trip version. So if we show the Boolean by clicking on greater than, lower than, you can select this one, then press F and go to grid. And here we will be able to choose the shape of the grid. I will go for basic diamond shape, and probably change the position, because here you can see this is actually too close to the top. So you can do this by holding click and change position here. Good. For now, this actually follows the Boolean object, so it goes outside of it, but we can cut it afterwards. That doesn't matter. Okay, so that's for people who have actually Fluent Power Trip. But if you don't have it, you can just select the Boolean here and press F and use the cut tool. And now if you actually cut a very small portion of it like this, and if you don't go too deep, you can then press GZ to put it a little bit in the middle, like so. And if you use the array tool, make a tiny space like that, press C. Now you don't have a grid, but this serves the same purpose, because now you have some kind of a grid like hard bars. This is not the exact same results, but this serve the same purpose. So for those who don't have Fluent Power Trip, you can always do something like that. You might have some issues over there. To fix them, remember, just show the wireframe to try to understand what the problem is, and most of the time is because Blender is adding edges over there and over there to support the mesh. And we need to help Fluent understand, Blender, sorry, understand where to put those edges. So to fix this issue, you're gonna actually select this and go here to array and check the count that you have. So for me, it's 35. So if I select this Boolean, go to edit mode, and now press Ctrl R. Once I have the yellow line, I just scroll up until I reach the 35 counts. You can see the counts in the bottom left corner of your Blender. You will see number of cuts. So you scroll up with your mouse until you have 35 elements. You can just click now and right click to put it in the middle. The thing is, it will not be entirely aligned with the cuts that you have. So to do that, we're going to actually go to the top view, select the Boolean, go to edit mode, and because you already have those selected, you are now able to press S and X to scale it on the X-axis. And you want to align them with the middle of each cut. So here, here, and here. Now, don't go to object mode yet. You need to press Shift F, and this will go back to object mode and also clean the mesh. So if we hide the Boolean, now we can see that we have the edges over there and not in the middle, and the artifacts are gone because we told Blender how to place the different support edges. So that's a cool trick you need to do when you are working with Boolean objects. For this side, I actually want to slice it. So I'm gonna go from here and hold Shift as usual to draw from the middle and go through by pressing V, and we have a different shape. Notice that every time you make a floor, like as a separate object, you always want to keep a space between the details that you add on the side and the limits of it, because you will have your wall that will go on it. So you always need to keep like a margin between them. This is important. Great. So first of all, I'm gonna actually reduce a little bit the bevel because it's too crazy, and I think, yeah, sometimes I don't know why the cavity is actually disabling for some reason, so you need to reactivate it from time to time so we can see better what we're doing. All right, so we have a cool details on the side, and I will now work on those plates. So for this, I'm going to actually use the face inset tool, and I will actually make this, select this and this by holding shift. Now if we press I and go to the left, we go inside the object, and if we press enter and go left, we are creating a cut inside the object. So that's a cool tool that I use a lot, and it allows you to make some really nice details. So that's great. And now I would like some bars in the middle. So to do that, because this is perfectly symmetrical on the y-axis, you can make the cuts on this part and then mirror it to the other side. So to reuse this, we're going to actually shift click on this icon. And what it will do is that we will now cut this cutter. And if we press X and right click again to show the grid only on this one, because we will be working on this one and not this one, we can now cut the cutter. That's the technical term that we use in the Fluent community. And this will actually remove this part from this cutter. So it will show the object at the point that we are doing this. So I will add a small bevel like so, and an array tool. So I let you be creative with that. You can always play with the spacing and the number of elements. I think it looks fine. And now I can press M and mirror it to the other one. You might see that, as we saw with those bars, Blender is actually creating all those lines over there. And we will help him understand that we want a line in the middle over there. So that's easier to avoid all the artifacts that we could have. So we can now right click and hide the boolean like so. As you can see, we don't have issues by the lines created by Blender, but I prefer to actually go to edit mode, press K, and now if you just cut here, press enter, and cut here, and press enter. Now if you go to edge mode and only select the two edges that you created, Shift F, we have now a clean support edge that is perfectly in the middle, and this will avoid any artifact that we could have. Because we changed the bevel of this, and this is a slice, this is a separate object, we also need to adjust the bevel on this one. Great. So let's add some details on the left side now. For the left side, I will do almost the same cut that we have here, but this will be for wires, for example. So this is a very small cut. And later on, you can add a plane on top of it that is transparent, like glass or a grid or something that you want. I will not detail this now. Good, so we can add some details in the middle now. For the middle part, I will actually use the inset face, and I will select all the faces that we have around here. And we need to press I now and inset it like so. Click and enter. You might have some issues with the line. You see, the lines are created by Blender over there and over there. If they are not created at the right place, it could create some artifacts once you're insetting the face. To fix that, as always, you need to click on the main object, go to edit mode, add an edge loop, and then press Shift F to put the line in the middle so it avoids issues. For me, it's fine. It was created here, but it didn't create any issues. But if you have artifacts, this is why. So that's cool. We are reproducing a little bit the details that we have here, so we are in the same style per se, and we can right click. So the idea now is to add a little bit more details to it. Usually when you have a floor, you don't have like cuts like this because it actually it is not easy to work on. So I'm gonna select the middle part and use again the face inset. And I will reproduce the same technique, but this time when I press I and I go a little bit inside, like so, I will press enter, but this time I will go up like this. So we are creating a shape instead of cutting the shape. Now we have this really cool effect. If you right click to see it, actually I need to enable again cavity. This is very annoying. I don't know why Blender does that. But now you can see we have this very cool effect around the entire object, and I find it very fine details to add. So we could use some details over there. For that, I want to make some kind of a logo or something that is actually craved into the surface of the floor. I will make a simple geometry shape. For this, I will go with the rectangle and a small bevel, like so. And then I will use the array tool. So we could make something like so and reduce the number of elements. But I would like to make them not straight like that. So if you press C on your keyboard, you can change the angle of them. So I will go for this, and probably it's a little bit too deep. So if we press S to change the solidify, and then we can make it like so. Great. So it's like a corporate logo that you could have. And if you want, you can also make a cut, use the circle by pressing C, and you can draw a circle like so, and use the slice tool. Let me increase the resolution and right click. You can make some kind of cool logo in the middle. So that's the thing. So yeah, we have some cool details. So we are now lacking some small details. We have big details, we have medium details like this and this, and we could have some very tiny details. And I want to utilize this space over there and over there. So I'm gonna make something that is not functionally useful, but it's in the same purpose of this in the middle. So it could be a nice touch. So to make that, I'm gonna use again the array tool, but this time I'm gonna make it a little bit different. So first of all, let's make it like so. I'm gonna use the taper, so this, and I'm gonna make it like triangle shape, like this. And now I'm gonna use the array tool, press C to change it. And this time I'm gonna actually change the angle. So if you go left, you can change the angle like this. And now you can reduce the count. So if you are too close from the screen and you are going outside of the screen, you can always just validate, go back here, go back to the array tool, and now you can just change it. So I will probably go for something like this and then make it good. I'm going to use the mirror tool, mirror it to the other side. And what we could do is press R to rotate it and Z to rotate it on the Z axis. And now we can make it like so. Press G, Y, and we have a nice touch. So this is not perfectly in the middle. So this is not in the middle because we actually we made a mistake with this circle and this logo. Those are not perfectly in the middle. So we can just right click and then if we show the booleans, select this one and this one, go to the top view and go to the X-ray mode on the top, we can actually move them a little bit here and put them perfectly in the middle over there. So that was a mistake that we did. We have an artifact over there. So as usual, we show the wireframe and we need to help Blender understand to put a line over there and not in the corners. This is a little bit special because you always, whenever you add support edges, you always need to ask yourself what is actually creating the face that we are working on. And this face is actually created by this cut here, this Boolean object. So remember, we add, let me hide this. First of all, we made a cut like this. And then we made another cut that is not a cut, that is adding, that is actually adding some stuff here. So this is actually this Boolean that is creating this face. Go to edit mode. If you go to top view, press K around here and make sure to not cross. It doesn't matter if it's not straight. Just make sure that you are not crossing any of the corners over here, here, or here. Now you can press enter and boom, we have a line perfectly here. We also need to do it for this one. So K, draw a line, enter, and we go to edge mode. If you don't see your object in edit mode, this is because it is actually inside here. So to make it easier, you just press slash on the keyboard, select this and this, so the two edges that we created, and press Shift F. Now if you press Shift again, slash again, you will be able to see what we fixed. So now this is fixed and we have a cool logo in the middle. We could add some details here, but you always have to think of the global image. And whenever you are creating a sci-fi object or any object, you always want to have some areas where you don't have any details. So if it's too saturated with details everywhere, this will not help the viewer to see your image properly. So I always keep areas with nothing in it. And I think this is a good example. So yeah, like I said, for this part, you can add some cables and put a plane onto it and put transparent texture. So it is like glass. So yeah, that was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't seen my latest video on how to make a trash bin in Artifice, I truly advise you to watch it. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.